Hey, I have to admit, I made a mistake earlier. I skipped over a school that I should have recognized from my notes, but I was too excited and I skipped over it, and I'm sorry. But I want this school to stand up. Where's St. Francis at? Sorry, I forgot you earlier. Please accept my apology. I did. Thank you. So we're gearing up here for the Q&A portion of the program. You guys did very well at the trivia, some of you too well, but we appreciate your enthusiasm for the program. So at this time, we're going to start our Q&A. Thank you.
Sir.
Because I want to make sure I hear the questions. It helps if everybody else is pretty quiet, and even if you have a microphone in your hand, as loud as you can be.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm from Madonia Middle School. And my Q&A question is, what was your experience with writing like when you were in school? Specifically when you were in middle school and high school.
Can you repeat the part where, what was my experience with?
When you were in school.
Just the experience of being in school?
When you were in middle school and high school.
Yeah, no, it wasn't an easy time for me, and because I was going through physical stuff that was unusual, it wasn't like I just had pimples or I just had braces. I had to reconstruct my face. And so that's part of why the book is called Smile, is because it's the last thing I wanted to do, but it's what's expected of you. And I think at that time in your life, if you're not smiling, people are like, come on, like, be cheerful, and like, sometimes you just don't want to be cheerful. So, but luckily I made a lot of really good friends, especially when I got to high school. So I'm still like best friends with my best friend at the end of Smile. And I don't know, even though it was not easy and all of that, I still had a really good time, I think. I don't know, I look back on it with fondness.
I'm Addie from King CSC. Do you use any mobile apps to create your books?
Mobile apps? Not really. No, I've been using just pens and paper and pencils and all of that stuff for a really long time. And I would do a little bit of stuff in Photoshop afterwards. More recently, I am using a drawing tool called Procreate. I realized I was supposed to draw some stuff. Here, I'll do it really, really quickly. I have a program called Procreate that just sort of replicates what it's like to use pen and pencils. And let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. It's okay, it's not a big deal. There it is, cool. So I use this program now to do sort of like laying out of things and very, very quick sketches and stuff. And it looks enough like real pencil that I can then print this out on paper and I can ink over it. So I'm still using those analog tools, which now I'm sort of combining that with digital ones. But it still takes all of my same talent and abilities. So I know that mobile apps are really popular right now to create characters and stuff. I'm still a fan of doing things on paper.
My name is Francesca and I'm from the National Inventors Hall of Fame School. And my question is, what have the greatest challenges been while writing your books?
The challenges. I would say that the challenging thing for me is coming up with ideas. Not just like the spark of an idea, but an idea that I want to spend 3.5 to 5 years with, because you know, you're going to spend a lot of time on a story. You got to write the story, you got to sketch out the story, you got to draw the story, you got to ink the story, and then you're going to have to talk about it for the rest of your life. So usually it's like I need to come up with an idea that is going to sustain me and keep me interested and have some sort of value just to be able to talk to people about afterwards. So it's not as simple as my best friend moved away when I was in 5th grade, but it's more like, oh man, my best friend is moving away and that was really hard for me. What did I do? How did I feel? Why is that? And that way I can sort of talk about that experience with other people that might be dealing with loss or grief. So I have to think about all that stuff in advance, and that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself when you're writing stories.
My name's Leo from Catholic Fraulein Middle School, and my question is, what do you like to do in your free time?
What's free time? I don't have any free time. That's not totally true, but comics do take a lot of my time. And it used to be that for fun, in my free time, I made comics because it wasn't my day job. And now it is my day job, and it's also my after day job. But when given the chance to have free time, I like to swim, so I do a lot of that. I like being out in nature, so going on like long walks, whether it's in the mountains or the beach, all of those are great. I like to camp. I like to drive, which doesn't sound like a hobby, but in California there's a lot of really like lovely places to drive, so I like to just get in my car and go. And my weird hobby is like themed dinner parties. So if there's like a movie that my friends and I all want to watch, I'm like, okay, we're gonna design a whole menu based on like puns from the movie. So I go really crazy at Oscars time. Every year I do a dinner party that's like based on the nominees. So last year it was bagels. We did everything bagels everywhere all at once. Just to give you an idea. Yeah, and I go from there.
My name is Madison from St. Francis de Sales, and we want to know, what do you do when a new idea jumps out at you while you're still writing a book?
Ooh, I think that happens all the time. You're like, I can't stop working on this project right now and come up with a new idea. But that might be something in my spare time. At the end of the workday, I'm like, I'm gonna just give myself an hour to kind of doodle and sketch. I have to admit, I use like the Notes app in my iPhone a lot to just jot things down. I try to keep a sketchbook handy. And if something really starts to take shape, I will give it a little bit more space, and I'll sometimes call a friend and be like, what do you think about this? Or I'll tell my editor, just saying, like, I just have this idea about this topic, what do you think? And she'll say, yeah, I gotta go with that. But no one's expecting me to turn it into anything real. So, oh yeah, probably just what anybody would do. Hold the thought, write it out somewhere. These are great questions.
My name is Caitlin from Lee Eaton Intermediate School. Will you write any more books based on your life?
Maybe. I'd like to, but I've sort of written about most of the big stuff that's happened to me between the ages of 8 and 15. And that's kind of the age range that Scholastic publishes books for. So I keep saying, like, if I want to write about stuff that happened to me when I was a little bit older, like college or my teenage years or my adult years, it might not be a Scholastic book. And I don't know how I would explain to my youngest readers, who are like 6 and 7 years old, this is not a book that you will like, or this is not a book that will interest you. So it's kind of a pickle. But I have at least one more story from kind of my early teen years that I think might make a good story, but I have to figure out how to tell that story. So this remains to be seen. But I've always been sort of somebody who journals and does short comments about my life on a daily basis.
I'm out of
If you follow me on Instagram, my handle is Raina. I sometimes will post just like daily comics there, little thoughts and ideas. So you're welcome to follow along there.
All right, thank you to all of our question askers, and thank you to our question answer, Ms. Raina.
Okay, we're going to switch to the part of the program now where each student is going to get an autographed book